Hello guys. Hello.
Hi, Irfan.
Hi Shashi.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was facing some problem with my upload link, so I just sent in a chat message. I was not sure if it was received. Am I audible here? I just joined from my cell phone.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, somebody's causing some feedback. I'm not sure whether it's you or somebody else, but other
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that,
yeah. It was me. It was me. Because I did join from two different places. Okay. So the only item on today's agenda is to discuss and conclude about the slides for the KubeCon update. So Christian, you want to? Is Christian there, or I think Nikhil would be presenting that because I saw that the author's name was updated to Nikhil. So if either
Yes.
of them are there, then we can conclude that.
Hey, so this is Jonathan. I don't know if they're in yet, but yeah, Nikhil is going to be giving that update. Christian will not be able to make it to give that update for that particular time, and so Nikhil is going to do it in his place.
Okay.
So we've been coordinating about that offline to make sure that Nikhil is ready. I believe they were planning to come to this meeting in order to discuss that with the SIG. I don't know what exactly they've done there, so I think for now, perhaps we let that item go and see if there's anything else that people want to discuss and wait for them to show up.
Okay. Okay. I don't have anything specific for today's agenda. If somebody else has something that they want to talk in today's meeting, please go ahead.
Hey, here, Fun. So I have a small update about the cluster registry. On Friday, we had a meeting to talk a bit more and to decide about whether the cluster object in the cluster registry should be cluster scoped or namespace scoped. The result of that discussion was we decided that we will have a namespace scoped cluster object. And that going forward, the people involved with that, we're going to work on defining a convention for namespaces that were local to a cluster, namespaces that should not ever be propagated to another cluster, whose content should never be, in essence, federated. One of the ideas here being that we would potentially like to have a system level namespace, which you could put a list of clusters in, which would be considered a cluster, a global namespace where all users of a certain API server of a certain environment could know to look for cluster objects. That is still very undeveloped and is still very much something that we need to continue to flesh out. But we do have agreement that the object will be namespaced, which means that going forward, we should be able to move relatively quickly, is my hope, in doing the work to convert the object to a CRD and then to publish it and to publish a beta version of the object. There is some syncing up going on offline about who exactly is going to be able to do the work necessary to move to a CRD. There is some legwork involved, and naturally, most of the people are busy, especially now with KubeCon approaching and other internal projects that people are doing. It might not happen as quickly as we would like, but there is an intention to do that soon. That's it for me.
Thanks, Jonathan. I saw Paul did update small status about the repo donation. So if Paul is there, you might want to talk about that.
I don't actually see him. But the TLDR is that the repo is now in Kubernetes SIGs and is tied into infra like bots and submit queue. So no more personal nonsense, and hopefully that can raise the visibility a little bit now that we're a bit more official.
Maru, I saw that you have updated some jobs which run in Travis. So, I mean, the CI jobs.
The
Do you
CI
want
jobs
to
are still running in
about
Travis.
that?
Haven't cut them over to, I don't know, to me, it's like just getting stuff working is kind of a higher priority than getting things official in CI. We definitely want some proper jobs running real clusters, but for now it's mainly integration testing. Yeah. But I think maybe the one thing that might be useful is I have a PR out for a script that will deploy Federation to Minikube. So you can actually play with it for real, not just in a test environment. And hopefully we're going to be building from there.
Yep, that's helpful.
So I believe that Nikhil, was there anything more there that you wanted to discuss? I believe that Nikhil and Christian are on the call now.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that everyone has had a chance to look at the presentation that Christian had shared, and there were some open comments. So I was wondering we can go through them here and resolve them. So going through the spreadsheet, I see there's a comment by Quentin about mission.
Nikhil, can you also point to which slide is that, please?
Third slide. So I'm just going through all the slides, and like on the third one, I see there's a comment from Quentin.
Would it be possible to present that to the meeting?
Sure. Let me see.
Thank you.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
I just noticed that something to do with Google Slides maybe, or something. When I make a comment on a specific item or word, it actually comments on the whole slide. I don't know if we can get around that.
No,
Did
I think,
anyone else have similar
yeah,
problems?
it's just Google.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to like annotate the comment with a item number or something. Otherwise, it's very unclear what the comment applies to.
The slides have been shared with edit access to the SIG. Actually, you should be able to edit.
Okay, so you're saying we should just edit them rather than comment on them?
Well, if you make a sizable change, just add a comment saying what the change is.
Okay, okay, I can do that.
But principally, I'm trying to read. Your concern here is, I mean, I think this is a good opportunity to, since they've been shared for over a month, if there's something, let's just talk about it here. We have the time.
Yeah, I apologize for not having given this feedback earlier. I guess one concern is that we already have an agreed upon mission that we finalized a while back, and I think it reasonably well covers what we're trying to do. And then there's a bunch of things in here which are not really part of a mission there, I guess.
So is this the charter you're talking about?
I'm looking at slide number 3 that says SIG mission, just because that's where I started.
Yeah, so what is the agreed upon mission you're talking about? Is that any different from the charter?
Yes, in the part of the charter, we have a mission. We have a thing called a mission. And there are words there, and they're different than the words we have here. And okay. I also disagree with some of the words we have here because they don't actually form, like plethora of homegrown scripts is not a mission, for example. And difficult to support federation in production is not a mission.
Yeah, I think the heading was changed. That doesn't.
So I would suggest, I think, stating what our mission is good. We already have words that state what our mission is, and I think we should just put them here.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at in my own tab. Paul has a pending PR, work in progress charter for SIG Multicluster. It's been outstanding for 26 days. It has a paragraph and 2 points. Is that what you think is a mission that we should put in?
I can look at that specific PR. The thing I was referring to was when we renamed from SIG Federation to SIG Multicluster, we wrote a mission statement and a charter, and we all commented on it, and we agreed upon it, and we ratified it, and we committed it to the description of the SIG. And I believe that so what Paul is busy doing, there's a new template out. They're trying to sort of standardize these things across the SIGs, so we're transferring that into a new template. So presumably what's in that PR is the same thing that was previously in our charter or mission statement. If it's not, then yeah, we should fix that, but I believe it is. I don't have it in front of me right now.
Yeah, Quinton, that's the same. Paul just replicated the same into that PR.
Yeah, so in that case, yes, that is the answer.
Okay, so slide 3, the heading used to be what was discussed at the face-to-face meeting in August 2017. I'm not sure how that turned into SIG mission, but maybe that's the source of the confusion.
So this should probably be a SIG update.
No, basically it was the point of what we discussed in August 2017. It was basically the current status of maybe just instead of that put in SIG mission. Actually, at this point, I mean, Quinton, since you seem to have most of the opinion, would you mind, since there's edit access, putting what the mission is?
Sure, I can do these few slides if that's easier. And basically, what I would propose we do is we just transfer the words that we already have into there.
Yeah, to remove confusion, I think this particular slide could be as is, but changing the text into whatever exists as a mission at the community SIG Multicluster page. And Christian, whatever you wanted to capture here, which you say probably the heading was changed, can be the next slide with the correct heading and sections. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Or Quinton, I mean, you do that, whatever. I mean, that's just a suggestion.
Sure.
So I'll add another slide here, and we'll let Quinton add the SIG mission.
That sounds good.
And also, I think what Christian mentioned is useful to just give a summary of what we discussed in August and what we agreed upon. And again, we circulated in the SIG an announcement that we wanted to make about exactly that. And we agreed upon the words and people commented and we went backwards and forwards and then we made the announcement. And I think we just need to use those words here to avoid confusion, not put a bunch of different words here. Some of which I think are contentious and at the very least confusing.
Which one? The words in the SIG status?
Well, it wasn't called status, it was called mission, which made it more confusing. And there's no mention of August or date or anything there. So it's not clear whether that status is status in August last year or status today. So I'll just clean it all up and make, I think it's useful to have a summary of where we were in August. And I think it's useful to have a mission. And we have most of those words and put it here. And then perhaps a current status, which is different than where we were in August last year. So I can do that.
Okay.
Hello? This is Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan.
So, whoever has the board.
That's the idea. Well, yeah, so that'll actually be the ceremony and the reception at a venue, a private venue, and then the ceremony at the park.
Can somebody mute Jonathan?
Mute Jonathan.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's. I mean, I think that slide can go. What is now 4? I would remove it because I think what's in 5 captures what used to be in 4. The reason I think 5 is the more valuable update is it kind of it explains why there's a reason behind V2 and what the lessons learned from V1 are, and that's important. I think that's important to communicate.
Yes, I agree.
So okay, so here's my proposal is to where is it? Oh, you've already done it. You've already removed it.
No, this was the third slide.
Yeah, my proposal is to third slide, which is now empty SIG mission, to put the mission and just to remove the 4th slide.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think the rename part update was interesting. The second part.
Let's strike through.
Yeah, we could put that below the mission itself, or maybe the mission would already capture, like expand the charter for complementary multicluster solution.
Yeah, I think the mission already captures that. That's how it was updated in the last update after the scope was widened into SIG Multicluster.
Okay, so then remove it.
Okay, it's gone. All right, for the rest, I mean, some of these slides are fairly busy.
Just a sec. Slide 4. I think line 3, documentation needs to be updated. I think Irfan actually submitted a PR for that, so we can probably just remove that.
Oh, yeah.
And also the last one, limited PR activity for every 6 months. Isn't that captured by item, the second item, OSS development has stalled? Seems kind of duplicative.
Sure.
Cool.
Okay, V2 is a busy slide, but unless somebody wants to break it up, I think it captures all the work that at least I can think of that's going on in V2.
I suggest cutting out the example bit. For example, secret becomes federated secret, just because there'll be an example presented in the demo.
Yeah, and that seems to be increasing the size of the slide. Means a lot of text. That looks like a lot of text.
So this whole selected part, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot better now.
All right, excellent. Okay, I have outstanding comments on 7. My only issue with 7 is that we're right now it currently reads as a grocery list of, I guess, V1 type APIs that we eventually want to flow back into V2. Isn't it more? Is there another way to express the same desire rather than to just list these, which right now have no designs within the context of V2?
Yeah, my own personal opinion here is that a roadmap might be better expressed as these are the features that we want at like a higher level than these particular types. For example, scheduling, some type of DNS solution similar to what was in V1, that kind of level. This is probably a little specific in terms of the specific types.
So
Well,
maybe
I
just
think what you just mentioned are actually kind of infrastructural components. They're not actually features. And it seems like, I mean, what we do have on the roadmap is features in the sense of the ability to manage a federated application and the ability to manage multiple clusters.
maybe just separate it from like this list here, like deployments cross-cluster coordinated, like rather than like naming deployments as some sort of feature point, just say cross-cluster deployments or cross-cluster service discovery, because those are features, and how we implement them, you know, we don't have to define that. The fact that it's based on services is kind of just incidental. I would say that just communicates better. I mean, we all know what's going on or will go on, but this slide is not as comprehensible as it could be. There's just too detail.
So maybe what this slide is actually about is that we want to provide this type of functionality for important parts of the V1 API. And maybe we can just say, for example, deployment services, et cetera. And I think the biggest takeaway from this slide is that a goal is to be able to add this type of support for basically arbitrary types across arbitrary federated API groups, or I'm sorry, arbitrary aggregated API groups or CRDs via creating some CRDs without writing code. Or is that just a distraction?
I like the general idea of the higher level concepts that we're trying to promote. I'm just not down with the listing the particular APIs, which just right now happen to map exactly one-to-one with the Kubernetes APIs, which, you know, harks back to V1 and not the particular V2 efforts.
Yeah, I like Maru's idea. It's better to list the features rather than the API types.
Yep, I also have a similar suggestion. Like we have one first point as all Kubernetes types. The second point could be higher level features, and then the sub points in each of them might be, for example, cross cluster coordinated applications, service discovery, load balancing, like that, rather than listing deployments and services and ingress and jobs, that kind of stuff.
Sounds
Does
good
that
to
make
me.
sense?
Something like this. And then I can remove this whole list.
That sounds good to me.
Yes. You can say higher level features or something like that.
And I would call the first item just basic replication or simple replication as the I mean, I don't think all Kubernetes types means anything. Yeah, swap the first two lines around. Basically, the main heading becomes simple replication, and the across clusters, and that one becomes all Kubernetes types.
Including CRDs.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Sorry, that was a proposal, not a mandate.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, is it really all Kubernetes types though?
Any type you want to federate, I mean, you're going to be able to do it. I'm not saying you want to.
Okay. I thought we had a stronger opinion on that matter.
I mean, the goal is enabling simple replication via configuration. So if someone wants to set up the right configuration, any type is fair game. It's just a bag of data from the federation perspective. Whether it makes sense from an authorization or a cluster management perspective is an entirely different issue.
Okay. I don't want to broaden the conversation. It's not time for that. But okay, across clusters, I think we want to say simple replication.
So I should resolve this comment?
Yes, from my perspective, it's good.
Maru, can I resolve it?
I think so. The one comment I'd say is the status. Maybe be more descriptive, like collection of status or something like that, because just status on its own seems a bit bare.
It does say
Yeah.
consolidated cross list.
Given
Right, but I'm just saying the
Nikhil-
header. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my thought. It seemed a bit bare, but if people are happy with it, I'm happy to stop talking.
Status aggregation, I think, is a better term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well, we should design through slides. We seem to agree and make more progress.
Okay. I don't
I'm
see
kidding.
any other
Um,
comments.
Right on the deep dive, this right now is fairly thin at the end because the plan right now is just to do demos. I think we have a commitment from Nikhil, Lindsay as well. Irfan, you said you were working towards cross-cluster services demo. Is that?
Yes, so Shashi is working on that, and we hope to have a local setup using Core DNS, a local installation of Core DNS. I mean, I can ensure that it will be completed maybe in a day or two, or not. I mean, we had some hurdles. We are trying to work through them.
Okay.
So this demo 3 maybe can be kept as optional. So if we are able to complete before the KubeCon, then I'll give it, or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's easy to edit a slide.
Yep.
Reminder that the connectivity may not be reliable. So if you have a backup where you can record your demo, that's something to consider. If not, it's not the end of the world. You can speak to your demo.
Exactly. We are trying to have something which can be run locally, as I mentioned, using Core DNS.
Okay, excellent. Nikhil mentioned to me that somebody popped up in the Slack channel this week saying that they would have something they'd like to demo. Their time zone was Europe, so they may not be on the call right now.
Is there someone on the call who would like to add something to the agenda? Okay, no.
Okay, they can be mystery demo for that.
Yeah, so if this Federation V2 doesn't happen, and if there are other people who want to demo something, we can do it on the spot.
Okay, looks good. So I think the only outstanding edit is the mission statement. And then we're good.
Yep, looks good to me.
Is there anything else on the agenda for today?
Yeah, I just wanted to check in. I think Paul's here. Just check in on the charter. I think you were doing it.
Yeah, so I posted a work in progress PR to get things rolling, and then the other parts of getting the donation stuff worked out kind of distracted me from that. I'm actually, Quentin, right now typing a comment in the slides to ask you to please let me know once you update the SIG mission statement in those slides, and I'll make sure that the verbiage in the PR matches. I will put a link into the chat if folks would like to discuss the charter PR really quick.
Yeah, from what I remember, that charter PR was basically empty. So there's actually a template that is published by the steering committee as to what they would like us to provide. And I don't think that the PR I saw had any of that in it. So I think perhaps a good starting point is to take the template, fill in everything that we already know, because most of it is information we already have, just in different places.
Yeah, just that the template existed when I made the PR. So thanks for bringing that to my attention.
And I think once we have a filled out template, we can then, change words or do whatever. But I think the vast majority of the information we already have, or at least we can say, this is what we think the information is. And if anyone disagrees, we can change it in the PR as part of the comments.
Okay, so just to be sure, this document that I've linked in the chat is supposed to be the charter template. It doesn't identify itself as the charter.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but I believe, so just stepping back a bit, so how we got to here was, in order to create repositories in the Kubernetes SIGs organization, you need to have done a few things that the steering committee asked. And one of them, I believe, was to have a governance thing. And
yeah, we have to have a charter, and that's why I opened the pull request.
Okay, gotcha. So yours is only part. Okay, now I understand that there's two of these things, not one, and that your PR is one of the two. I thought they were actually a combined template. My apologies.
That's okay. So I think this is new information, though. So there's some kind of governance document and a charter, and those are distinct things.
I thought they were the same thing, but it seems they are different templates. Basically, it is a statement of, this is who we are and this is how we run. And and I thought we had to have those in place in order to create a repo under the SIGs, Kubernetes SIGs organization. And that's what I thought you were doing.
In place, we had to demonstrate that we were working on them.
Okay.
So just for the record, I have time in my schedule today to like sort all this stuff out. So I did not want to leave it. I will take that as an action item to sort through today.
Okay, great. Thanks, Paul.
I definitely think it's not super clear from the content on the site exactly what's required. So I'll try to sort that out too.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought that had been clear. I wasn't involved in communicating that. I knew it was happening, and I thought there was clear instruction as to what had to be done, but
yeah.
apparently.
No, that's okay. I think as long as we can get it sorted out and provide clear guidance, like interestingly, for example, the steering committee does not display a charter. So I'll look through the charters that are out there and see if I can make sure that our thing is up to date and matches, and then also if there's clarifications that we need to make separately so that it's clear for other SIGs, I'm happy to do that stuff too.
Sounds good. The SIG architecture actually has a draft charter this stuff, and it's actually a document that has all the things that I thought everyone was supposed to have, and that's what I thought had been communicated. I will find that right now and put a link to it in the chat, and you can probably use that as a kind of guiding light as to what I believe.
I had actually looked at that one, and it's fairly light. I tried to start following it, but there are some other examples for other SIGs that kind of muddied the water for me.
Fair enough. So you have looked at the architecture one.
Yeah. I'm actually going through now and seeing if I can find which SIGs have actually defined a charter to see if there are any. Okay, so contributor experience also has one. That looks closer to what is described on the template. So I don't know that we need to devote additional group time to this now. I will spend some time on this today and see if I can just get it sorted out.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem.
Yeah, meanwhile, earlier, I had a chat with Paul, and I did, I think this topic was raised once before also. So I had a look at the different charters. I mean, there are only 2 or 3 SIGs which actually did complete updating this charter. So as mentioned, the main gap that I see, what we need to update, the template might not exactly be the same, or there might not be a clear template which gives the listing that these are the sections you have to update. But the main 2 items were the SIG mission, and the other item was the roles and responsibilities within the project. So the roles and responsibilities probably needs to be updated. The mission already is there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me drop the link into the chat if folks would like to take a look at this quick.
And I suggest, like, as a start, we need not have to have all the extensive information in all the sections that are proposed as part of that requirements. We can have that as VIP.
I'm sorry, Irfan, I had some background noise. I missed what you said.
Yeah, what I was saying is that I think it's not necessary to exactly comply with all the requirements that are listed. So in the governance committee steering governance, there is a governance requirements. So that lists out what you basically need to have in your charter, right? So what I was saying is we need not have all and every requirement satisfied. We can probably complete these two things. One is roles and responsibilities, the other is the SIG mission, and say that it is WIP. And for now, that should be sort of complete from our end.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I agree with you. I have just found a link to SIG governance requirements that's different from the template, but seems like it might be a good guidance for the template.
Yes, that template actually confuses, but the SIG governance requirements lists out what should be there.
Okay, Irfan, I tell you what, you seem to have some interest in this subject. Why don't we talk offline? Are you going to be around after this meeting, or are you done for the day?
Sure, I can hang on for half an hour more.
Okay.
Yep. And let's move ahead from this topic now. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk?
I think we sort of strayed a little bit to off of the agenda. I joined a little late. Did we talk about the cluster registry?
Yes, Jonathan gave some update, and I did update the notes as per what Jonathan told us.
Thank you, Irfan. Yeah, Paul, I gave a summary of our meeting and what we're going to do going forward.
Okay. Sounds good. So one last thing I wanted to ask is whether folks would be open to moving this meeting to either Monday or Thursday. I have an overlap with another meeting that I cannot miss without feeling terrible about not having done my job with this meeting. And that one meets every week. So I wonder if folks will be open to that. If so, I will send a message to the SIG mailing list and we can hash out a time there. But I just wanted to test and see if folks were at all open to that before I did so.
I believe
I noticed that Thursday's the community meeting and also SIG architecture.
Yes.
So I guess Monday has SIG apps, but if we are okay with overlapping with that, I think Monday is a possibility. And we've been doing the Federation ones, I guess, on Mondays, and those are no longer happening. So that slot is open for a lot of people.
Okay, I'll send a message to the mailing list and maybe we can find a time, or maybe it might be easier to just add a day to the week and use that.
That sounds great.
apparently during the French Revolution, the French tried out a 10-day week. Maybe they were onto something.
Think of the meetings you could have in a 10-day week. I would be fine with that as long as 5 of them were weekend.
I'm on board with that, Paul. All right. I guess in that case, if there's nothing else, I think we can end about 15 minutes early. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we close off the call?
That's it for me.
Going once, twice, sold. All right. Have a good week, everyone.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Ciao.